is a Black gospel song. I'm not going to sing it because, I could halfway hold a note, but I'm going to tell you what some of the lyrics are. And it says, in case you have fallen by the wayside of life, dreams and visions shattered, all broken inside, you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. The potter wants to put you back together again. And it goes through those lyrics. And when it comes to the vamp, it says, oh, there's joy in the potter's house. There's love in the potter's house. There's salvation in the potter's house. There's healing in the potter's house. It says you'll find everything you need in the potter's house because the potter wants to put you back together again. And it says, oh, the potter wants to put you back together again. And I want to invite anyone who's under the sound of our voice that may hear this podcast downloaded tomorrow or 20 years from now, that each one of you has an opportunity to come to the potter's house. And I'm not talking about the church house. I'm not talking about any denomination. I'm not talking about anybody's building. I'm talking about you have the opportunity to build and cultivate your own relationship with God. And he wants to have that relationship, whether you call him he or she. So for those of you out there that recognize it as something else, you have the ability to fire the middleman, the building, the denomination, the doctrine, the dogma, all of that, and have your own personal relationship with the God that you believe. And Amen. I believe that it's going to be more, that your faith will grow even more by doing so. When you repossess your faith from the pulpits, from the pastors, from the preachers, from the buildings, and from the pews. Now, if you find community in buildings and you find a pastor, because there's lots of great ones out there that are actually doing kingdom work and about kingdom business. If you find one, great. But understand you do not have to cede that power to have the relationship with God to anyone. That's something you can hold to yourself and build for yourself. And so anyway, thank you, Dr. Kevin Young, for sharing your journey with us, for being so vulnerable in your book, for your confessions that will hopefully empower other people to confess, for having the courage, however long it took, to walk boldly in your own truth, your own identity, because it's so hard to be a purveyor of truth if you cannot walk in your own personal truth. I have been there as a pastor, depressed, broken in the pulpit, trying to preach healing, in the darkness in the pulpit, trying to preach light, sad in the pulpit, trying to preach joy, trying to preach a functional household when my own house was dysfunctional and toxic. I have been there. So thank you for having the courage. Thank you for the confessions. Thank you for keeping it real where I come from. Thank you for keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? And thank you for being our guest on the God Squad podcast tonight. And you have the final word.
Yeah, and I see you put up the book. For those of you who may have read my book or want to go deeper, this is a great book, Ancient Christian Worship. It actually kind of was the catalyst into a lot of these things that are in my book. It's so a great book if you like deeper study, something a little bit more academic, then that's a great place to go. I thought what you said, Desimber, was just beautiful. It aligns exactly what I was thinking. You are a unique, irrepeatable miracle of God. And I think that, if we could own those words and the truth of that, and how scripture everywhere just shouts that you are unique, you are irrepeatable, you are a miracle of God. And I think so much of my transformation, me just kind of owning who I am, was realizing I only get to live this life once. There's never been somebody who has been me, and there never will be anybody who is me. And yet I've spent most of my life trying to live the way other people wanted me to live in relation to God.